Hello, you're joining me, Daniel Parker, the director of the LSA Documentary. First shot we're seeing here is me talking about the intro, what the whole documentary is about. Talk about the whole idea of child protection. I wasn't allowed to film children in the classroom or film children's names, so I talked about basically how I got around that. This had to be reshot because the first shoot was the first shot I got of this child protection intro was a very bad shot. It was like a mid shot of me in the corridor walking down. I thought it'd be nicer to have it on a tripod, just cutting between myself and the classroom. Then here we have a title screen just went for a basic look, and there's a bit of music I put in. This is me at the school. I basically had a cameraman with me, Stephen, who I went to school with. Um, Decided not to film on a tripod because I just wanted sort of like a Louis Theroux style look. Just me walking with walking around the camera, filming stuff as it happens. Um, talk about why I'm at the school to film. Then I talk about me going to have an interview with one of my former LSAs. Because of the child protection, I couldn't film in the corridor, so I decided just to cut from me walking out the door and entering in another, greeting Miss Warmer, who she was great. She was very willing to have an interview, and I basically just wanted to ask her what's changed, if anything. Went for a basic look on the names at the bottom left-hand screen there. I just said to Stephen I wanted this kind of like just both of us in the shot for this interview, sort of like mid-shot. And very pleased the way it came out. Just wanted a quick interview here. Of course, I had to be wary of like children walking in and out. So if a child walked out, I'd have to kind of stop recording, delete. But yeah, she's very willing, very nice. Didn't have any problems when we get into with her because I think there were some teachers who just did not want to be filmed. But preferably I wanted to have a video interview with someone. So this is Rebecca Payne, who is another LSA at the school. Just wanted to film sort of her paperwork. Now you'll notice here is me. Was actually filmed at college. We kind of had a sneaky shot here. We had to do a colour filter on the wall because there's times when the camera went a bit wobbly. So I took some advice, and we thought it'd be best to film me sort of nodding to cover up these sort of wonky shots. So it took a bit of a risk filming the me nodding because the wall, had to be perfect to the colour. So like I said, we had some colour filters on the wall to have that sort of yellow greenish colour. And from people who've seen it, they haven't sort of kind of notified that it's quite different yet. So pleased with that. And he's got some more here. Me just nodding. I had to reshoot this a few times because there were times I was just looking ahead instead of sort of looking down. Of course, I had to look down when she was looking up at me. But yeah, I was a bit concerned about doing that because, like I said, a bit of a risk. But I think it went well. Here, just sort of talk about my experiences, what I needed support for. Now and then, this documentary, I just wanted to cut to myself talking about certain things. Different locations. Of course, here, got in front of a wall. Had to, originally I was going to shoot on the other side of the wall, which had children's names. Had to reshoot this, which I wouldn't be allowed to do because of the child protection. And when I'm talking about my support here, what I need support for, I'm going to have a cut to an interview with Miss Warmer again, which you'll see just now. Here we go. Just talk about what I need support for. In documentaries where we've got like an interview with, someone straight on, this is what I wanted here. Because basically I don't need to be in the shot because I've obviously talked about what I need support for. Just want to get her opinion on things, so I wanted to get her looking straight at the camera. Here we got. I decided to have a film on the stairway. Me and NSA Miss Perry going up to a classroom where I greet the teacher. And I thought, well, you know what? I can't film in a classroom, so I thought it'd be nice to film myself sort of walking up to the classroom. Like I do documentaries where you go up to greet someone, you get introduced. And this is what I wanted to do here. So I walk into the classroom. This is where the camera to be switched off. Then we sort of have a cut to the forest. Reported back what I found out. I thought, I decided in the forest. I wanted a mixture of locations, and I think it's a nice location. So yeah, very very happy with that. Basically talking about how Larry the class was. Then I cut to an interview with me and Miss Perry, where I get her opinions on the class we've just witnessed because she was in the classroom with me. I want to get her opinions on what she thought of the class. So I thought, this is a nice area to have an interview. 2 benches. Let's shoot it here. Why not? Decided to extend this interview slightly because she had a few points to say about the class. Decided to keep them in. Obviously, when this documentary needed to be about 10 minutes, 9, 10, 11 minutes. So I had to cut out certain bits of interviews. I had a lot of different. Every interview I did was quite a long interview. Well, I say longer than what it is I put in the documentary. Interviews last about 5 minutes. Here, I cut me all towards the camera. I talk about an interview I'm about to cut to with Kerry Evans, who's a teacher. Thought it'd be nice to have me sort of walk into the camera to introduce the interview. Here we've got Kerry Evans here. I wanted to get a teacher's perspective on things, what they think of LSAs, and particularly the relationship between an LSA and a teacher. I think it's important not just to get interviews with LSAs. I wanted to get interviews with people with different roles in the school. And I just got a quick point of him talking about the relationship between LSA and a teacher and how LSAs are involved in the planning. Again, I wanted an interview of me and him in shot, in front of the whiteboard, which I thought was nice. And here, which is one of my favourite shots we did, is sort of me and Miss Payne both walking towards the camera. And I've had some great feedback on this shot because I didn't just want to keep sitting down and stay in front of walls. I'd like to be walking out and about when I'm interviewing people. And this is besides a sports hall, because we was about to observe a PE lesson, which again I could not film for child protection. So Miss Payne was just basically telling me about what she has to do to support a child with a physical disability. And I want to get the point across that LSAs don't just deal with children with mentally learning difficulties. They also have physical ones as well, which I have to support them for. So this is why I wanted to sort of have an interview with her about that. Then there's me reporting back what I found from the PE lesson, which I just witnessed, which Miss Payne was supporting the child for, talking about the fact that I never needed really support in PE. I had personally more of a sort of mental learning difficulty than a physical one. Camera went a bit wobbly here. And we also had some issues with, I think Stephen's phone was affecting the signal, so you could a signal noise, which I just had to deal with. It's not too loud, luckily, but I think they can be interference in some documentaries and media products. And here, just above the stair in front of the wall, talking about one thing that has changed since I'd come back was that they got a new Senko. And unfortunately, I really wanted to get an interview with her. I actually wanted an interview with both her and the former Senko, but I couldn't get one with the new Senko. She's very busy. But I just had a cut to Cherry Reeves, who was the former Senko. And I like the shot in the conference room, another new location, again with myself in it. This is probably the longest of the interviews in the documentary. Of course, everyone I interviewed points were fantastic, but I asked Cherry Reeves two sort of questions. One being, as a Senko, what I think she has to do, and what she thinks it takes to become an LSA, because Senkos choose who becomes an LSA. They're the ones who an LSA has to have an interview with and go for a job. So yeah, basically, I wanted to keep all her points in. They're just very interesting. Looking back on the documentary, one thing which I'll talk about in a second is I really had to make sure I put former Senko on the bottom left, because there's a bit in a couple of minutes where I say that I'm back at college. I say that I couldn't get an interview with the Senko. So had I put Cherry Reeves Senko, it would have made the documentary look pretty bad if I'd put Senko and I said I could get into the Senko. So I had to remember to put the former Senko bit in. And like I say, in the doorway in the background there, if a child had walked past there, I'd have just had to quickly reshot, because the child protection is so vital. There's very little details. If there's a name in the background of the wall, I'd have to reshoot. So Cherry Reeves was, I think, everyone in the documentary I interviewed was quite informal. I think Cherry Reeves was probably the most formal. She gave all kinds of different words on what she thinks it takes to be an LSA. Some really interesting points. Not just they need empathy and sense of humour. And so I really took her points into account, and I was very, very interested in what she had to say. And she was very willing to give an interview. She was very busy, and she had told me she had to quickly rush off to be on playground duty after this interview. So I was very quickly. I really quickly tried to get to her because I was very, very, very keen to get her points. So I think it's nice to get points of a former Senko. And here I put back what I found out from Cherry Reeves, and give my thoughts on what LSAs need, exactly what she's told me. And I just agreed with her points. And there's as you saw there, Stephen zoomed just out in the shot, which I decided to keep in. I didn't want to reshoot that, so quite like the look of that. Of course, me sitting down here on the table, new location, and then you'll see here, it's the cut. Here we go, the cut back to college. This is where I talk about the fact that I couldn't get into with the Senko, like I said earlier, so I had to put, of course, the former Senko back on the cherry reefs, and so yeah, that was much needed there. This is kind of very much the end of the documentary. You know, the beginning is me in the college, as you saw. Middle is all at school, and then this is the ending back at college, talking about the support at college. There was actually a bit just after this, the very ending, when I'm walking out of college doors, which I took as some advice to cut that out because it just didn't. It looked very much a sort of cheap shot. So I decided just to, when it zooms in, the guy filming this actually, I didn't know he actually zoomed into my face, and which I wasn't keen on when he done it, but decided to keep it in because I think you see that in documentaries. And so I'm talking and basically give my last thoughts and essays, and it fades out. And I hope you enjoyed the documentary.